All right, let me see. Let me know if this is working, guys. I still don't know if this is how well this works. So I need a thumbs up. John, if you're there, let me know. Throw me a thumbs. Or anyone, let me know if you can hear me. So I'm not going to start until we get this thing moving. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on. All right, are we good? All right, there we go. There we go. All right, here we go, everyone. School is officially out. James is out of school. Mason's obviously out of school. We got graduation today. I have to admit that yesterday, myself and one of our former London football players, we did the Prowler together. He's a tremendous athlete. He still trains here when he can in the garage. And him and I did the Prowler yesterday. I'm just letting everyone know I'm still working hard. We did a half mile with 3 plates per side, and then we did another half mile with 2 plates per side. Absolutely horrible. That 3-plate trip was miserable. I mean, miserable. So I was knocked out for a good part of the day. Not going to lie to you. So, all right. We're going to go ahead and get started. As always, go ahead and ask a question in the chat. If you're watching this on when it's not live, when it's a recorded thing, you're free to ask any questions in the comment section and all that good stuff. So please do so. You know what? Last week, I was going to read this question and answer it. It was sent to me, and I didn't do it. I totally forgot, as usual. So I'm going to go ahead and do it now. This is from Steve Jordan. Okay, I have a son. He is 14 years old. He played sports when he was younger. He stopped playing about 3 years ago and has taken to kickboxing, and that's a few days a week. He started lifting consistently the past 3 months. He's built some strength and actually seeing a lot of changes in his body, which is obviously building confidence. He wants to run 5-3-1, or the father does, Steve does. That being said, considering his age and newness to training with weights, how would you recommend programming the big lifts? Should I still follow the 5-3-1 protocol or stick to a fixed number of reps for each set and don't increase the weight until he hits? All right, so-and-so. And he's talking about the triumvirate. First of all, what I would probably do is cap the reps. I would say, or this is just, you're going to have to use your, I'll tell you what I tell the kids. On the squat and deadlift, we cap the reps at 15. Unless at any time the form starts to break down, you're not doing things correctly, and then the set immediately stops right there. That's number one. Number two is generally on the bench press, we do as many as you can. The form is not that as big of a deal. Doesn't mean it's not a big deal, but it's harder to get hurt on the bench and stuff like that. So I would probably cap at 15, and then bench press is, unless his butt's coming off the bench and all that other stuff, then you stop. Number two, I would probably, if you're lifting 3 days a week, I would probably just do one main lift, or you can do, Monday, Wednesday, squat, bench, and then deadlift and press on Friday. I would probably not use the press as a main lift. I would use it as a main assistance lift. That's what I would do, because he's probably not terribly strong on the press, and you just bomb it. Absolutely bomb it with volume, okay? Other thing is with, what template to follow. Listen, I would just make sure you're doing the main lifts right, and then bare minimum do 2 assistance lifts. Now, if I will say this, if you want to try something different, don't not do it because it doesn't fit in the template. Just go ahead and do it and have some fun. Be creative. I always have a basic idea of what I want to do with the training program, whether it's training Zach in the weight room or training the kids. And then if something comes up or we want to maybe put a little something different in there, we go ahead and do it because I'm always just making sure that the main lifts are done correctly and the training max is correct. From there, we just adjust based on, maybe the kids want to try something. Let's go ahead and do it. Not a big deal. We got our main lift in. We always do get our pull-ups and ab work in and stuff like that. So anything we do after that, we're just going to have a good time. All right, that's super important. As far as increasing weight, what I do is you have to. I'm not in a rush to add weight to the barbell. I'm in the business of making sure that you own the weight and own the sets and own the reps. So I'm probably the least zealous coach when it comes to weight lifted, especially during training. Now, if we were going to test and stuff like that, let the kids kind of go. And I can tell you that by being a strict adherence to doing proper reps all the time, when you test, it's unbelievable what happens. Okay, but you got to put your time in doing the reps right, making sure for whatever you're doing that you think the bar speed is good, and you don't have to smoke the kids all the time. I've said this a million times. We had a kid deadlift 360. This is not an anomaly. All right, I brought this up on forum. We had a kid whose top weight on the trap bar the last probably 6 months was 265. He pulled 365 for 10, and it was awesome, perfect reps. His back was perfect. Wasn't sloppy, wasn't slamming the weight off the ground or anything like that, where he's looking like he's candy cannon. So that's super important. So don't get wrapped up in the training max or the bar weight. Get wrapped up in doing the things correct. If he's doing things correct, go ahead and increase the weight. There's nothing wrong with that. So just remember, we got to train smart, especially the main lifts, and then be creative and have some fun with the assistants. All right, here we go. And I apologize, Steve Jordan, because I screwed that one up last week. So, all right, here we go. John Dondero says, do you have any podcasts that you listen to? I do not. Maybe it's because of my age, or I don't know. I can't really spend, I don't really want to spend like 2 or 3 hours or even an hour listening to stuff. I know, right, because I'm doing this. I love doing this. If something pops up, if it's a little snippet from like Joe Rogan or something, it could be anything. I don't even know all the podcasts. I'll listen to it. It's fun. I just don't. I've listened to, I believe, 2 podcasts from front to back, and that was the Louis Simmons podcast with Joe Rogan, which he calls him, I think, John or Jim or something, which is one of the funniest things I've ever said. That's the only time Joe Rogan has done an interview that wasn't at his studio, and then Louis calls him Jim or John or something. Nice to see you, John. So that. And then the other one I listened to was, I think, the first David Goggins podcast on Rogan. So that was when I was first introduced. I remember because I believe Rhodes ended up coming here. I'm like, dude, you got to hear this guy's story. Absolutely bananas. So, but no, I don't really. Anything that pops up in my YouTube feed, if it's interesting, I'll watch it. But I generally don't listen to anything. Like, I don't have an app on my phone or anything like that. So I don't like Spotify. I don't have any of that stuff. And that's not me trying to be cool. I just don't have it. And it doesn't really interest me. I'll be completely honest. The one thing that I do watch Mr. Ballin videos. I think those are fun. I don't know if you consider that a podcast. I love Mr. Ballin. And the other one, what was the other one? Oh, Popo Medic. It's not a podcast, but man, I love his videos. Absolutely love them. In fact, when a new video comes out, I don't watch it because I want to save it. So, all right, here we go. Albert Wang says he has a tight schedule. And an inconsistent off day. Can I just train the original 5-3-1 and add in supplemental lifts when I have the time? I prefer doing the barbell lifts. Thanks. Yes, that's essentially what I've referenced this many times. There's an article on the blog called Training for Busy or Inconsistent Men. That's exactly what we do. I think when you say supplemental, you mean assistance, 100%. Or you can do supplemental too. So yes, read that article. It'll tell you exactly how you can learn how to train consistently and be smart and auto-regulate based on the day. Albert goes on and asks, is the boring but strong still a valid template? Yes. Is there anything to be updated? No, you're good to go. You're good to go. Just I have found that boring but strong works really well with the press and the bench. That's just me, especially the press. All right, here we go. This is from Wit. What are your thoughts on allowing piston reps on some of the assistance movements? For example, push-ups, dips, rows, and pull-ups. I know this is a no-no on the main lifts. Okay, so just so I know, I talk about this to the kids every single time we lift. No piston reps, which is just when guys, like you'll see them when they squat and they just keep on going. They never stop at the top, or they just bench like this. So with assistance movements, 100%, go ahead and do it. Doesn't mean you should do it all the time. For example, one of the variations I do with dips with Zach is a lot of times we'll just do what we call normal dips. And the other one is we'll do, I'll say go, Zach will do a dip. We'll hold at the top for 10 seconds. I'll say go, he does another dip. And so we have found that's been an awesome way to train to get his bench press up. That was one of the things that we did. And man, it sucks. It sucks. We did the same thing with push-ups. We did it with pull-ups, but we'd hang at the bottom. But that doesn't mean you can't do, faster, quicker reps. Listen, the reason why I don't like piston reps for the main lifts is mainly because of safety. Because if you're not strong enough to stay in the groove, you're going to get a little off of it, and then you end up getting hurt. The bar drops. I told a kid, one of my best favorite lifters, football players, he was doing it, and I said, dude, it's gonna catch up with you. Just mark my words. Literally, then I think it was like 2 sets later, he bombs the barbell, and he looks at me. I'm like, dude, I told you, you can't handle, especially a little heavier weight, whatever that is for you. You have to respect the weight, and the only way I think the best way to do it is to do it on every set. So that's safety, and I also want the kids to learn how to push fast and strong at every single rep. Now with push-ups and dips, go ahead and do it, but you don't have to do it all the time. So there you go. Woo! Oh boy, I lost my spot. There we go. Elo, thank you for the cash, buddy. I appreciate it. He asks, how and why did you initially make the decision to train at Westside? Did you have to move? All right, so I've talked about this. I learned about Louis Simmons and Westside when I was in my last year in college. I read an interview with him on testosterone.net, which ended up turning into T-Nation. At that time, I was kind of at a crossroads with my training. I was, training basically the same way. I got very strong, but I knew that there was other ways of going about stuff. And I didn't want to just do like sets of 10, sets of 8, sets of 6, whatever, like the standard stuff. It didn't interest me at all. So when I read that interview, I was like, this is something this sounds like something I could do, because obviously, he had great success. But what really interested me was his two things. Was one, the not having the standard periodization. I never liked that. And as an athlete, you can't really do that, because what are you going to peak? When you're going to peak for an athlete, the first game, the homecoming game, the playoffs, you just don't do it. You just got to stay strong. Number two is he said, if you're fast, I can make you strong. I was very explosive. At least for me, I was. Obviously not enough to get come out of high school and get a scholarship or anything like that. But generally speaking, I was fairly explosive, especially in the squat. And so that interested me. So I learned about Westside. And I started, the articles were very straightforward that Louis wrote. And then I obviously started reading Dave Tate at the old Deep Squatter site. Some of you old dudes probably remember that. That was the OG Q&A that Dave ran. And long story short, I had befriended Dave. It's a long story. It doesn't really matter. And then Dave Tate ended up hiring me as a full-time employee at Elite FDS. So I moved from when I was living in Lexington, Kentucky at the time. I moved to London, and I had already known Louis for a couple years, and he invited me to train there. So yes, I did have to move, but the reason why I moved to Columbus, or more specifically London, was because I had a job, and I'm super thankful. Dave took a huge chance on me. I was obviously no one at the time. I'm still not really anyone. I mean, I'm someone, I guess, right? My mom thinks I am. But he took a great chance on me, and I'm thankful that both of those guys looked out for me. So awesome. So yeah, I did have to move, but I did not move specifically just to train at Westside. It was a huge bonus, but I actually got health insurance. I'm a huge fan. So, all right. Gary House says, howdy, coach. I'm usually busy from being active duty Navy, okay, in my family. So when I use 5-3-1, sometimes I split the main lift and supplemental throughout the day. Any consequences? No. You're good to go, Gary. Especially, like I've said this before, the most important thing is for someone who's just the average dude. And I'm not saying, you're not a full-time athlete or anything like that. You have to adjust your training to your life. You don't adjust your life to your training, at least not once you have a family, full-time job, other responsibilities. So you're 100% right. The only thing is just you may notice some things go to shit. Maybe one of those workouts has to be a little abbreviated or whatever it is. That's fine. You'll figure it out, but I think you're doing the right thing, Gary. Active duty. Whew. Man, I've heard so much positive stuff about the current military and so much negative stuff. I don't know what to believe, as usual, right? Andres Guzman Ballin. That might be related to Mr. Ballin. Just kidding. His name is John B. Allen. I just call him Ballin. All right, here we go. He writes, the video is good. Thank you very much. What are your thoughts on pike push-ups for shoulder work and walrus training? Worth it, or will the kettlebell work suffice? Yeah, listen, Andres, if you want to do it, I say go for it. One of the issues that we have with walrus training and it's like you have a ton of variations for lower body stuff. You don't have a ton of stuff with the upper body push. You got push-ups, dips, and then now you have pike push-ups. I mean, you can do kettlebell overhead press, dumbbell overhead press, stuff like that. But in general, you don't have as much as you have for your lower body thing. 100% for it. The more variations that you can do and the things that if you want, like I'm not going to do pike push-ups mostly because my shoulder would probably give out. But if I could, I would do as much variations and different stuff just to have some fun. And just because the better your physical education, so to speak, the smarter you're going to be. Get a classic physical education. Do different things. Don't just do the same thing over and over again. Doesn't mean you can't do it as part of a challenge. I've done that before. But the more things that you get, the more things that your body gets exposed to, hey-oh, the better off you're going to be in the long run. All right, Paul LeClaire says, hey, Jim, I want to get my power clean up to 225. Okay. Would it be better for me to just focus on squatting 405 and then it will be easy, or should I keep them in? I can clean 205 and squat 365 now. Thank you. You listen, power clean is a skill. You wouldn't just increase your squat to 405. No, that's ridiculous. Listen, like now, let's say, for example, this is what I would do. If you can clean 205 now, let me do the math in my head real quick. I would keep all of my clean reps. So all the weights that I do for the clean, I would probably keep them, oh my God, I'm trying to, maybe between 165 and like 185. Just do that. Do nothing but a lot of volume and perfect reps. I'd say 4 cycles, three to 4, so maybe 3 months, 4 months. And I would do those twice a week. So I would probably do between 10 and 25 total reps between 165 and 185. Don't max out. Don't do anything like that. Just keep on doing it. Keep on training your abs and low back. Make sure that's strong. Keep on squatting like a fucking dude, getting strong legs, and not just 1 rep maxes, doing some reps and stuff, just getting overall stronger. And the other thing I would do is I would make sure I'm doing some kind of jumping work twice a week. If you can, if you're or med ball work, if you can. Doesn't have to be crazy, maybe 10 to 15 contacts per workout. And that's what I would recommend you do. I am telling you that the worst thing I did when I started doing the power clean was trying to always raise the ceiling instead of trying to raise the floor. And the best way to do it is just continuously do good sub-max work between 165 and 185 for you. That's what I would do. And just keep on hammering. And I wouldn't do any more than 5 reps per set. So keep it between, let's say, 2 and 5 reps. and keep the the rest periods fairly short. So as an example, you could do 5 sets of 5 at 165, or you can go You can start with 165, and if things are solid, keep on doing. Working up as long as the bar speed feels good. If it doesn't, stay at 165. That doesn't mean you can't go over 25 total reps, but I would always keep the weights in there. Just keep on building the speed and the technique there, and then building your overall body strength, abs, low back, get your jumping in, and I 100% guarantee I can get you to 225 just by doing that. So, all right, here we go. Okay, Grady Baxley says, thank you for answering my question about going. Let me see what we got here. Here we go. Thank you for answering my question about going to a 2-day in-season workout while training Muay Thai 3 days a week. Recovery is very important to me. I'm guessing it says, would you suggest doing 5-through-1 5s? Here is my current template. A, squat and bench and assistance work. B, deadlifts, overhead assistance. Okay, so this is what I would do if I were you, Grady. On the squat and the deadlift, I would do 5s, so just 5s pro as we call it, unless everything feels amazing. If it doesn't, just have good reps. And even on the deadlifts, you might do 3s pro, okay? Right? On bench, again, I would try to do some PR sets and some other stuff because that's not as taxing. But I would probably aim for like regular 5-3-1 work. And then the assistance work, I would be very wary, Grady, of doing it in a lot of lower body work. If I was you and I was training, the only lower body work we would do would be prowler work and sled work. I would keep that soreness down, or glute ham raises or back raises. All right, that's the only lower body stuff I would do as far as assistance. I obviously try and get you a little pumped up and have a little fun with the assistance work, but I would not tax your lower body too bad on the squats and deadlifts or on the assistance work. So I hope that answers your question. Just this is basically what we do. We athlete the lower and we bodybuild the upper, and that seems to work. That doesn't mean you should look like Dorian Yates. It means you're just not smoking your lower body work, because with training Muay Thai, you're doing all those kicks, you're bouncing around. I do not want you to be sore. All right, so all right, here we go. Says Stephen C. says, hey Jim, what are your thoughts on travel sports for young kids between 10 and 12? Do you think it's necessary if they want to play high school ball? I don't want to burn the kids out by high school. Okay, so what are your thoughts on travel sports for young kids 10 and 12? I don't really know, because Mason and James didn't do it. Mason played a little bit of soccer, but it wasn't crazy for the travel stuff. Listen, if your kid wants to do it and you as a family have the time and money to do it, I guess that's what you want to do. I don't think you need to do it now if you want to play high school football. No. Or if you want to play high school baseball and stuff like that. I will stay, unless I see differently in the next 30 years or so, kids are better off playing multiple sports and having a focus for each season. I know that's not a popular thing. I know the majority of parents and coaches say, no, you have to play sports year-round. I think you lose a lot of your youth that way. I think you get a lot of injuries that way. I think kids burn out that way. And I do not think in any way are you going to turn your kid into a professional basketball player by doing travel sports. Your kids will become a professional basketball or baseball player because they are genetically gifted to do so. It's not because you spent your Saturday and Sunday in 3 states away driving and stuff, and then you got to. It's just, to me, it's a little bananas. I personally wouldn't do it, but I've also hadn't really have to come up with that. I'll have to deal with that situation. I just think it's important that kids play different sports. I also think, I'll be honest, I think it's important that kids develop general physical preparedness. And when you're playing all those sports year round and practicing year round, at no point, at least I have never seen any of those sport coaches emphasize general physical preparedness in any way. It's all SPP, and you're gonna take a dump. Your kid's gonna take a physical dump. It's always been like that. Ryan D says, "Hey Jim, in your older Elite FTS interviews, you seem to be more of a hermit and not much to go out in public as much. I still very rarely do anything. I'll be honest. I love doing this stuff because I like giving back a little bit. I like interacting. It's a super easy way to get your questions answered, and it keeps me on a schedule. I'll be honest too." And not want to be out in public as much. What changed to make you start doing live streams and being more public? I don't know. I just, you grow up. When I started working at the high school, that really forced me out of my comfort zone. And I've said this before, like I remember when I started, I remember thinking, well, we're going to see if I'm a shit coach or not. I'll see what I can do. And to me, it was, technically it'd be much easier for me to say, oh, if I was the coach, I would do this and that, rather than actually putting my balls in the chopping block, so to speak, and seeing if my coaching style and program and all that stuff work. And I'm super, super thankful for Kyle Cutler and all the people that supported me and allowed me to start, and super, like the kids that I work with, especially the first group of seniors, and that whole, football team, they were didn't know me at all. It wasn't part really of the city or their lives at all, and they trusted me enough to do it. So I'm very, very lucky. So I guess that might contribute to that. So I'm still very private. I don't go out very much. Like, it's funny when I get messages about when people come into town for the Arnold, and I always say, like, you guys will be in Columbus in those that weekend more than I've been in Columbus all year. So I just don't like to go. Oh, there's my wife. Oh my God, she's just wearing panties. It's over her leggings. She looks like Superman. Anyway. All right. So I hope that answered your question. I'm still not terribly social, or I know like two of my neighbors. One of them just moved, so that kind of screws me. So I just keep to myself. And I have some great friends. I really do. But I'm not going to go out and have drinks or anything. Like, it's not Sex in the City here in London. All right, here we go. Hulk Smash says, when do we get another table talk episode with you, Dave, Matt, and Vincent? I have no idea. I know Matt is super busy. Plus, Matt moved. He lives in Arkansas now. Vincent is retired, so he has all the time in the world. I live obviously next to Dave, and basically, so it's really kind of up to Matt. And I know Dave's got a ton of stuff going on. So I don't know. We talk, me, Matt, and Vincent talk all the time. So when I say talk, it means Vincent sends me a text on Friday, and I answer it the next Friday. So Vincent, I hope if you're watching, buddy, I love you. I will, and I made Vincent feel really bad. I think it was yesterday. All right, here we go. JBJ says, hey Jim, I'm in my 50s, strength trained for several decades, and now find myself strong but 30 pounds overweight. I have dialed in my diet, and I'm getting 10,000 steps a day. Now I need a good 12-week workout. I don't know what that means. 12-week workout. Listen, I'm not sure what you mean, like a 12-week plan? Don't do a 12-week plan. That's ridiculous. That's redunculous. Listen, you don't do 12 weeks, all right? Do 12 years. Technically, I would do a 4-year model. I think that's the best way to do stuff, or at least a 1-year model. If I were you, you're 30 pounds overweight. You obviously know how to train. You got to get your diet dialed in. I would lift maybe 3 days a week, maybe 4, but I think 3 days is a little easier. This is how I would do it. I would do Monday bench press, assistance work, mostly upper body. Wednesday, I would do trap bar, the deadlift, or box squat. I think a higher box squat I think is awesome. And then some lower body assistance. And then on Friday, I would do the press as your main lift and some upper body assistance. I would do abs on all 3 days. On Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, at least 2 of those days, I should say, on 3 of those days, I would do some kind of dedicated conditioning, but I don't think it needs to be hard. So, for example, maybe instead of doing 10,000 steps, you go for like I'm just giving you an idea, like a 6-mile walk or something. On the next day, you ride the Airdyne for 30 minutes as hard as you can, within reason. And then maybe on Saturday or Sunday, for example, that's when you do kind of your harder conditioning. Doesn't have to be stupid hard, like you're going to fall over and puke or anything like that. But that's what I would probably do. I would take a long-term approach. You losing 30 pounds, if I were you, I would try to lose that 30 pounds over 2 years. That's the kind of mindset I would have. So you're not dropping 1,000,000 pounds. It doesn't mean it's going to take you 2 years, but I would just chip at, I always think of a giant boulder and you got a little hammer and you just hit that rock over and over again, and finally it's going to split. Now everyone says, oh, what was that last hit like that it caused the split and the rock to crumble? It wasn't. It was 1,000,000 hits that you did prior. That's what I would do. So I would not take a 12-week workout. I would do exactly what I planned out, 1 main lift. I already explained that. I'd probably choose 2 to 5 different assistance lifts during each workout. Have some fun, be creative. And I would make sure that barbell speed on the main lifts was really solid, and I would just bodybuild and have a good time with the assistants afterwards. That's what I would massively recommend. David PM says, hey Jim, I'm doing 5s Pro first set last, which takes me about 50 minutes to an hour each day. I'm thinking about including neck work, but I don't know where to put it because I don't have enough time. Thanks. All right, I'm trying to think. What do you mean? So you're just, David, I'm not sure if you're saying it takes you 50 minutes to get through the 5s Pro into FSL? Like that you're not doing any assistance work or anything like that? Because if that's so, you got to get your ass in better shape. That's way too long. Way too long. Neck work, I don't understand. Like, dude, it takes you maybe two or 3 sets every training day. Just maybe 2 sets of neck harness, 1 set of neck flexion, and you're good to go. Our kids do it every day, and it takes them about 5 minutes. So you got plenty of time unless you're super strapped. But I don't think if you're just doing 5s Pro and 5 sets of 5 at FSL, if that's taking you 50 minutes, that's not good. When we do 5 sets of 5 at FSL work, that'll take us less than 8 minutes. Our 5s, our workup sets take, so we got 2 or 3 warm-up sets. Let's say it's 3. So 3, 4, 5, 6. That takes us 12 minutes. So you got about 20 minutes right there. And but there's no way that should take 50 minutes if you're just doing the main lift for that. So, but yeah, neck doesn't take you long, buddy. Takes you 5 minutes at least, at the very most. Colm Rigney says, hey, Paul Leclerc, you are plenty strong for a 225-pound power clean. Like Jim said, focused on technique, not just technique, aggression. Learn how to load and be aggressive when you lift. That's one thing I have to teach the kids all the time. Like, stop trying to finesse the weights or technique. Technique's important, but be aggressive, be angry, lift angry. I say that all the time. Squat angry, bench angry, stay focused. Don't just do the lift to do the lift. Colm says, I would focus on chin-ups too if you can. I always found them very helpful for cleans. I think any exercise, if I'll be completely honest, if you're really, if you're not power cleaning 400 pounds or something, just general strength training, just like for chin-ups, just getting generally stronger will help you. So yes. Grady says, thank you. I love Prowler work. Prowler work sucks. I love it and I hate it at the same time. The best thing with Prowler work, besides it being easy on your body, not, as far as soreness, is I don't get super tight after I push the Prowler. I stay mobile. I don't get all bound up. That's the weirdest thing about sled and Prowler work. I feel it doesn't just run me down. So, all right, any suggestions for training the low back? I don't have access to reverse hyper and back extensions trigger sciatica. I don't know what you can handle. You can obviously do reverse hypers just with your body weight or ankle weights. You can do any kind of good morning. Doesn't have to be very heavy. I'd start with an empty bar and kind of work up with that. The other thing I would recommend is obviously deadlifts and stuff help. But you figure out what is triggering your sciatica, like what are and fix that. And then band good mornings help quite a bit. You could do those for super high reps. Not sure if that's going to hurt you or not. The other things is you can always do pull throughs and kettlebell swings, stuff like that. So there's plenty of ways to train it. You know, straight leg deadlifts are great, but I don't really know they're great for my hamstrings, but I never really felt like I got much stronger with my lower back with those, I'll be honest. But I think if you can get good mornings in, again, it doesn't have to be very heavy at all, just the motion. And I would not load it, I'll be honest, past 135, 95 pounds. You can get a lot out of 95 pounds and it strengthens the whole area. So, but again, you might want to get your sciatica looked at. So trust me, I know how that goes. Alan Arahu says, hey Jim, I do kickboxing twice a week and 531 3 times a week. I did boring but big cycles as a leader, now OG 531 as an anchor. I want to get better at fighting. Should I change anything next cycle? All right, so this is what I would do, Alan. If I wanted to get better at kickboxing, I would do kickboxing 3 to 5 times a week, and I would train just twice a week. That's what I would do. You got to kickbox more, and I would just lift twice a week. That's number one. I would not do boring but big, at least especially for the lower body. I think that's a bad idea. I would stick to either the OG, or I've already kind of answered this question earlier today, or 5s Pro twice a week. Keep the upper. I would not train my lower back or my legs with any or much assistance work. I let the kickboxing take care of that. I just keep a good base of strength in my lower body. So we athlete the lower, maybe back raises or glute ham raises as assistance. I keep my abs pretty strong, obviously. And I just kind of train my upper body, kind of bodybuild, so to speak, and have a good time. But I would not do boring but big at all. Now I would kickbox way more if I wanted to get better at fighting than twice a week. All right. I've been at Wendler forums for a few months. All right, here we go. It's M46. As I wanted to read about the Walrus routines and ideas, I still don't know what's the best way. Hypertrophy, and I don't know what that says, to combine barbell with a base Walrus. I don't know what this, barbell and second strength to combine barbells with base. I don't know what, M46, I don't know what you're asking there. I'm so confused. The best way to do both, I still don't know. So you would, generally speaking, you would do the main lift of the day and use the Walrus stuff as assistance work. But I would, if my goal was hypertrophy, I probably would not do Walrus work. If that was my goal, I would use normal assistance work and drive the hypertrophy with that, and then obviously the eating. But I would not, if my goal was to put on muscle, like you're never going to see a bodybuilder or a physique competitor do Walrus training, ever. It's just, and I've mentioned that many times, like if your goal is to be strong as a power lifter or big as a bodybuilder or anything like that, this is not the training for you. So I wouldn't, if my goal was hypertrophy and strength, I would just barbell lift with typical style of assistance work that's based on your readiness and preparedness. So I hope that helps. Elo says, where did the name Portal from Portals 5x531 come from? Comes from the band Portal. Not many people probably know that band. Unbelievable band. Very odd. I don't expect a lot of people to like them. I loved them from the first time I heard them. Totally doing stuff, at least to me, that was out of left field. And then more importantly, I got to see Portal live. They're from Australia. They obviously don't come to the States very often. It's not like there's a huge group, millions of people wanting to see Portal live. It was unbelievable live. It was unbelievable. So that's where I got that from. And I'll tell you another band from Spain that is kind of in the Portal world, so to speak, probably a little more normal than Portal, is a band called Entourage. Unbelievable band too. Oh my God, the vocals are just twisted. All right, here we go. Ryan D says another question. Any plans on writing a non-lifting book? Probably not. I'm not that smart. I've read 5-3 a lot through the years, and when I need a kick in the ass, and appreciate some of your life and philosophy takes. I thought about that, and I was really kind of gunning for it, and then I had a moment of realization that I'm far from anyone to... How do I put this? I'm not smart or good enough to tell anyone how to live. That's basically what it comes to. I have done so many dumb things, and I'm not, very smart with that stuff. So that's just, I don't, my ego, listen, like I've been humbled way too many times. Let's just put it that way. And I realize that now. So. All right, Ryan Steck says, hey, Jim, thanks for all you do. Thoughts on single arm dumbbell bench for building the press and the bench press. I have dumbbell handles, but limited on weight, so I can only really beef one up past 100 pounds. All right, so this is, Ryan, this is a great example of there, being something that's best for you, and then just this is the situation you're in. The situation you're in, Ryan, go ahead and just knock it out. Do it one-arm press. There's nothing wrong with that. And be the best one-arm, single-arm dumbbell bench and presser that you can in the world. All right. I do not think it's like I never have our kids do it. I don't even have our kids do like a press and then they do this or anything like that. I have our kids just do this. Boop, 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 and then they're on an incline, then they're on straight up and down, then they're on a 45, whatever. But in your situation, this is the reality of it. You're going to have to work around it. There's nothing wrong with doing it. Zero. If I were you, I would embrace what you have. This is the situation. I'll give you an example. On, I think, Tuesday, Zach and I went over to the stairs. We had our rucks, and I had my ruck on. He had his vest on. It was pouring rain, and we were out there for about 50 minutes. We did 2,000 steps. And once we were kind of laughing because when we got out there, we were dry and everything. And then once we accepted the fact that we were soaked and it was going to be miserable, it was much easier. So in your situation, it's not perfect, Ryan. Just accept it and just honor it and say, I'm just going to be the best single arm dumbbell presser in the world. That's what I would do if I were you. Stephen C says, thanks for your input on travel sports. I really appreciate your advice. Yeah. The other thing is like many of the kids that you see that are super amazing when they're 8, 10, 12 years old, they're not super amazing in high school. Their SPP peaks early and they never really develop. So I wouldn't worry about that stuff. Elo says, adding to Ryan's comment, Ryan asked, would you ever, okay, I'm not sure what Ryan, about the non-lifting book. Gotcha. Would you ever write a memoir book about your experiences coaching high school athletes? I don't know. I'll give you an example. I don't like having other coaches come in. I mean, Kyle really doesn't like it, to observe our kids, but I don't like our kids feeling like they're in a fishbowl. And I don't want some kid that I've coached read the book and think something was said about him. I don't think that's the right thing. I don't think to exploit them like that. That's just not me. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I just like to keep things kind of in-house, but maybe doing something on, maybe not a memoir, but something about training. That's good. I think that's something I could definitely be in there. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I'm very protective of our kids. I don't want our kids to feel like I'm using them because I'm getting, as much as they're getting out of training and playing football and all this stuff, I'm getting a lot out of it too. So I don't want to think it's like, listen, I'm only coaching you so I can make some money later on. I don't know. I'm just weird about that stuff. All right. Brian Walter says, hey, Jim, with an exclamation point. Thanks for these. You're very welcome. I'm 51, doing your DeFranco template, Monday bench, Wednesday trap bar, Friday press. For assistance, does this sound about right? The bench and press days, pull, legs and abs, trap bar day, push, pull, and abs. Pull. Yes, you're good to go. Brian, that's fine. You can do that, or you can do more of a traditional workout. For example, on the days you bench, you might do high rep pressing, like let's say just say dips or push-ups or dumbbell bench, some lat work, so you superset that, and then maybe tricep works and upper back work. On the press day, you choose another high rep pushing exercise with some kind of lat exercise, and then upper back and curls. And then on the days of the trap bar, you can do abs, low back, and maybe a single leg exercise. So there's nothing wrong with just doing either one and just switching them out. So just remember that. David PM says, thanks, Jim. I meant to say it takes me an hour, including the accessory work, but I don't know where to put the neck work. Just do it at the end, David. It takes you 5 minutes, man. 5 minutes. Grab a neck harness, do 2 sets, do a set for 25, rest a minute, and then maybe do neck flexion for 25, or just repeat. So yeah, you don't need to do more 1 or 2 sets of neck as long as you do it consistent. George says, thanks for your years of input and advice. Quick general program for SWAT officer in their 40s, family, kids with good strength and physical fitness. I've said this, listen, if I was in that world, even if I was younger, I would 1,000% train like this. Monday bench, Wednesday box squat or trap bar, or safety squat bar, something like that. And then Friday I would press. I would either do full body assistance or what I already explained, more of a typical assistance. On Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I would condition. And that would, 2 of those days would probably be fairly easy. For example, I'd put on a 20-pound ruck or vest. I would walk on the treadmill for an hour, varying the heights and stuff like that. The other day might be a bike or something like that. And then 1 day a week, I would do harder style, insane conditioning, maybe with the sled or prowler. I would keep that, make sure that you keep the lower body soreness down so you're always able to do your job. I think that's super important. Everyone wants to go crazy with that stuff, but I also don't want to be jumping out of a car when I'm 42 years old and my legs are too sore from lunges or anything like that. I would really do a lot of sled work and prowler work, because you can do quite a bit of it and never be sore. Again, this seems to be a common theme today. So that's what I would probably do. I would, again, bodybuild the upper and athlete the lower. So that's what I would do. Boop, 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 boop. But thanks you, George, for the donation. I will not drink and drive. I can't. I'm just joking. All right, Adam Jones says, hey, Jim, thanks as always. You're very welcome, Adam. I want to introduce prowler work to a rugby team, 17 to 19-year-olds, as a finisher. How is it best to scale this up and progress into the season? All right, this is probably not the right forum to do this, but I would probably, the way we do it is you'd have to kind of see, we go around the field in 20-yard increments. So we push for sets of 20 or sets of 20. Each push is 20 yards. Each prowler group has 4 to 5 guys. We're on a running clock. Every 20 seconds, someone goes. When we go to the end zone, you push from the end zone all the way to the goal post, and then the goal post to the end zone. So that's a little bit longer than 20 yards. That's the way it goes. We generally start with approximately maybe 10 pushes. There's 16 things, maybe 8 to 10 pushes, and I would not, how do I put this? I would not, my goal is not to make them too tired. So if they look, especially in the beginning, like their heads are sinking and stuff like that, I just let them rest. I want great effort. You'd be surprised how quickly you get into great shape if you're not running them into the ground all the time. And the kids, I tell them all the time, I got your back on conditioning. All right. As long as you're working hard, I'm in your corner. But the problem is like, how to scale this up? You're going to have to figure out where the end goal is. and I never go past the end goal unless we're doing like a challenge or something like that. So in general, if we got 4 or 5, usually 5 kids once we really start pushing because of our numbers, we will do no more than 4 total laps. I don't know what the math is on that one. So maybe everyone's doing 12 or something like that. There's 16 pushes, doesn't matter. I keep everything between generally probably 15 and 20 yards per push. I don't think there's much of a need to go past that. And I don't know if you need to go past maybe 10 to 15 pushes in there per workout. The weight is going to be greatly varied, I'll be honest, because it's going to vary on what kind of surface you're pushing on. When we push on the field, if it rained that day or it's rainy, it slides very easy. If it's been hot and dry or it's very windy, it gets very hard. So we always have a lightweight, a medium weight, and a heavy weight for each group. All right, so you got to understand where that is. So each group is going to have to figure that out. Again, I don't know where you're going to push it, but our groups have a light, medium, and a heavy weight. And if they're pushing very heavy, we increase the rest times, again, based on preparedness and stuff like that. So again, you're going to have to figure out what is like the high end of where you want to be and then just work towards it. But I can't tell you this enough. Don't run them down the first couple times they do the Prowler because it's going to be miserable. Your body has to adapt to it. So 20-yard pushes, you'd be good to go. Okay. It says Ultrash is from the city I live in. I think you mean Ultrage. All right. Yeah, they're from Spain. I'd never expected you have listened to them. Yep. That said, adding death worship and blasphemy to the deload week is a terrible mistake. It's crazy with blasphemy. It's hard to understand how far ahead of the curve blasphemy was. Unbelievable. Bill Coyne says the people want more Wendler books. Yeah. All right, LJK31 says, hey, look, I'm looking forward to starting your 5-through Unboring But Big program. I'm currently doing strong lifts 5x5, then Gray Skull, then, I don't know, GZLP, I don't know what that is, and then Boring But Big. I really enjoyed doing just the basic compound lifts. All right, there you go. Ryan D says, thanks for the answer, Jim. You're very welcome. You should write the Philosophy Life book. Give the people what they want. Listen, I don't know. This just seems like people in this industry and stuff, like they all want to be hard asses and stuff. And I'm not saying I'm not disciplined and I don't work hard, but I'm not like a hard ass kind of guy. I don't know. That doesn't mean like I'm not manly and stuff, but like I'm a warrior. No, you're not. Dude, you're 4 meals away from going nuts. I don't know. I know it's just, I am who I am. Paul Vickers says, I think you did some good talks on training young athletes. Saw them on YouTube. Really enjoyed them. That's awesome. I'm still, man, am I learning. Learning all the time. We got some good kids that work hard, though. Super proud of them, man. I tell them all the time how proud I am of them and how much I want to kick them in the dick all the time, too. It's a weird combination. All right, here we go. C. Noel says, hey, Jim, what's the best way to figure out how many reps and what weight to use for the vest when first starting Walrus training? What's the best way? So if you can get through the 10 rounds with 10 and 5 with a 20-pound vest in 30 minutes, then that's probably a pretty good weight for you. If you can't get through that, then I would probably take the vest off until you can make that pretty easy, so to speak. You don't have to just do that. But as long as you get through the 10 rounds in general time, even if you got to take a little extra up, especially on the pull-ups, I get it. I had to do that too, because even though I'm strong at the pull-ups, the multiple sets of 5 in a quick fashion really smoked me. So that's probably the best way. But the other thing is, when you're doing, let's just say you take the vest off and you're doing great, and then once you put the vest on, you can't maintain, I'll give you an example, sets of 5 on the pull-ups, just drop to sets of 3. Or maybe the first 5 rounds you can do 5, the next 5 rounds do 3. Just figure out what you can get through on a reasonable time, and then start adding and subtracting stuff as you see fit. Dude, some days, man, I've done pull-ups and things are flying. I remember I did recently I usually do about 100 reps of pull-ups, just kind of hanging out and doing. I can pretty much just knock it out. And one day, I did like I put on a 40-pound vest, and I was just smoking them. I mean, took me like just no time to get the 100 reps. Took me less than 20 minutes, and then another time without the vest, those 100 reps fucking killed me. And those, so you vary based on how you feel. Generally for the weight, I always recommend no more than 20 to 25 pounds. It doesn't mean you can't go up, but as generally as you go up, you're going to have to decrease the reps per round, especially on the pull-ups. And so what I would do is, what I like to do is I like to keep the total reps the same and just do more rounds. So that way you can survive it, so to speak. So as an example, when I have the 40 or 45 pound vest on, I do sets of 10 on the squat instead of 15. And then I'll do, I think it sets of 6 on the push-ups, and I do between 2 and 3 reps, just depending on how I feel that day on the pull-ups. So you're just going to have to use some trial and error. Like, it's not going to be perfect the first time around, at all. And you're going to have to, mess up a little bit, but give yourself a little bit of a window with that stuff, guys. Hey Jim, for a 60-year-old starting after a 6-year layoff, do you feel I should start with something like starting strength or a simplet 5-through-1 template? Flying monkey, this is what I would do. If one of them speaks to you and you feel like you really want to do it, I don't think you can make a bad decision. I'll be completely honest. I don't know, I don't know what your mobility is like and how much you've been. You said you've been a 6-year layoff, but have you done nothing? Are you even remotely physically fit? Stuff like that. So Flying Monkey, my advice to you is whatever one that you like, that you want to do and kind of gets you going, do it. All right. The most important thing, whether you're a 16-year-old kid or a 60-year-old kid, is you train in such a way that you want to train and you'll be consistent with. Can't say that enough. All right. And the other thing is, man, make sure you're not running yourself into the ground, David. Like, you remember the days when you're like 18 years old and you're doing all kinds of crazy shit and you feel sore? Listen, you can still do that when you're 60, but the consequences are going to be much, much more severe. So be smart. D. Schoon says, Monday is Murph Day. Thanks to 531 Walrus. I've never been more prepared. Thank you. That's awesome. That's right. All right. Do you find, this is Pablo, any value in the data you get from tracking devices like heart rate, VO max, and so on? I don't do any of that. So I guess the only thing I did was my heart rate when I was on the treadmill when I was doing weight vest stuff. It was just fun to see. I go by notebook and kilos. What? But you might have better input. Nope, I don't do any of that stuff, man. So I trained like 60 kids at one time. I don't know. It's just not going to work very well. So I don't do any of that stuff. I just kind of train by how I feel when I determine kids' training maxes, I just watch how they lift. I don't test them or anything. There's not a single coach, I'll tell you right now, it's been coaching as long as I have, over 20 years, that can't look at a kid lift and they'll know exactly what the bar should look like and what the weight they should use is. So, yeah. And that's not how I learned. I learned just by going out and training and watching and going by feel. So that doesn't mean you can't do it. I just didn't grow up with that stuff. So, Gabriel, oh man, I can't pronounce her. I'm not even so Gabe, there you go. Says, hey Jim, thanks to you. I'm in the best shape of my life. As soon as I read the North Advanced section, I knew this was the program for me. Thank you again. That's awesome. Awesome. That's great, man. I'm happy because when I wrote that, I was in this probably where you were, where I just needed a kick in my own ass. I'll be completely, and I just needed. And the best part about that, Gabe, is when I completely committed, I stopped worrying about the weight and I just was running and doing all kinds of crazy shit. And my body eventually adapted. But those first 4 to 6 weeks, especially of squatting, oh my God, my legs were shaking so bad all the time when I was lifting. So Skip says, any tips or not on not going overboard chasing +1s on every set? Yeah, cap your reps. We do that all the time. Cap it. Cap 10 to 15. or wherever. I don't know what you want to do, but that's what we do. We always cap reps. I don't think our kids in the squat and deadlift have ever gone to failure. We always cap reps. I'm always smart with what the kids do. So that I think that's super important to do. Jeffrey Chin says, my wife has started walking wearing a weighted vest, and it strengthened her back and fixed some of her persistent back pain from workouts better than her PT. That's awesome. Oh, Jeff, that's awesome. So what's crazy is, and listen, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I try not to, but fucking A, the amount of people in this town that wear weight vests now and rucks, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And guess who started it? I'm the only person. All right, I'm just joking. That's great, Jeff. And more importantly, listen, I love weight vests and all that shit. More important is they're fixed a lot of her persistent back pain, and I know what that's like, man. So, Frank Silkite. Oh, sorry, Frank. Says, hey, Pablo, I use heart rate instead of time for the rest between sets. It works awesome. It takes into account how you feel that day. Time is merciless. There you go. That's awesome. That's awesome. Flying Monkey says, thanks, Jims. I always wanted to give Triumvirate a go. Now seems to be the time. There you go. Decent condition and mobility for 60 years old. That's awesome, Frank. Flying Monkey, God, first of all, dude, you're 60 years old. Don't be Flying Monkey. You should use your name. I'm going to call you Gary or Big Todd. Your name's Big Todd. Listen, Big Todd. Just be smart with how you start back, man. I don't need you smoked. Have some fun, be creative, but be smart, especially with the squat and the deadlift, all right? Be very smart. Give yourself, I tell you this, you're just starting, so let's just say you give yourself 3 weeks or 3 months before you start going crazy. Just real simple, easy work, just getting your body ready to go. Give yourself 3 months and then push on the gas, trust me. Jeffrey Chin says, can I skip deadlifts on 531 while cutting weight to make the workload more recoverable? Yes, because Jeffrey, here's the thing. Your main 1000% goal is cutting weight. It's not your deadlift. It's not your squat. It's not your bench. It's cutting weight. So that needs to be the priority. So you need to alter your lifts based on what the number one priority is. The goal is the goal, right? So just like if my goal was to power lift, if I do anything that is contrary to upping my total, you just don't do it. It's not a priority. Just like I'm not going to go run a marathon, right? My running is not going to do very well if I'm a power lifter. Since your main goal is cutting weight, whatever you got to do, it's fine. It is 1000% fine. All right. Listen, like I know everyone wants to do everything all at once, but listen, I could only speak from my experience. I was never talented enough to do a million things. The only thing I was able to do very well is train for football. And honestly, I think that's pretty easy to do. You just lift a lot of weight and just run your ass off. And then, your legs are smoked. So then you have to probably drop the weight a little bit, but you still got to do it. Stuff like that. So I was never like going bananas trying to do everything all at once. There's always going to be a sacrifice. All right. There's always going to be a sacrifice. So keep the goal the goal. Woo! I tell you what, this thing is awesome. I bought this. This is the Go Ruck. I don't know what they call this thing. But I'll tell you what, I ordered something from Go Ruck. It got lost in the mail or something. I don't know what happened. I contacted them. They sent me something else out, like because they sent it back out. And then I received, like 3 weeks later, I received the original package. I contacted them. Their customer service was unbelievable. I am not paid by them. I don't know anyone at Go Ruck, but I'm going to tell you right now, I was super happy with how they treated me and their attitude and stuff like that. And they got back to me in a timely manner, all that good stuff. So there you go. Bill Coyne says, I smoke cigarettes during sled work for greater cardio stimulus. Is this a good idea? Dude, I just saw an interview with a guy who was an Army Ranger, and then he became a PJ, and he was a smoker. I couldn't believe it. Dude, PJ's got to run all the time, and obviously Rangers got to run all the time. I thought that was hilarious. Just blowing a butt. fucking going for the PT test. Hey, it raises your heart rate. That's the most important thing. The good thing about smoking cigarettes is you're in zone 2 at least all the time, right? Anyway. All right. We're going to get rolling here, folks. I appreciate everyone stopping by. Super happy that all the people that asked questions. Thank you, everyone that watched. Love you guys. Thank you. As always, if you do something dumb conditioning-wise this weekend, good luck. Have fun. Do something completely stupid. Don't kill yourself, but have some fun. I will see everyone next Friday, I believe. I don't think I'm going anywhere. I don't know. I never know my schedule. So, but thanks to everyone. Love you.